Hello and welcome to another UCL fantasy video. Today we're looking at my own Limitless Matchday 2 draft. Personally, I'm not going to be using the Limitless this week. I'm going to be using a wildcard instead. But as the Limitless looks like it's going to be the popular move this week with the wildcard coming in Matchday 3, I thought I'd make my own draft to show you what I would be doing if I was going to be using that chip this week. We're also going to be looking at some target fixtures as well, just for anyone who isn't going to obviously take everything from the draft, but just to kind of give you some better ideas and hopefully help you out when making your own Limitless team. So starting us off with the fixtures, then we've got at the top all of the Tuesday fixtures and the Wednesday fixtures on the Wednesday. Now, I do think it's going to be quite hard making. Well, I think when making a Limitless team, most people are just going to be sticking with United, Bayern, Arsenal. Probably going to be a lot of triple ups from all of those teams, and then just a bit of a mix of other teams around that. But I think what people using the Limitless this week are going to have an issue with is finding four players to put on the bench that play on the Wednesday to replace those players on the Tuesday. Because the Tuesday players just look like they've got much better fixtures, and a lot of the main teams really are playing on Tuesday as well. When you're looking at the Wednesday fixtures, it's really Atletico, Man City, Barca, really looking like the only players that you would look at there. But again, like I say, with the Tuesday fixtures, you've got the likes of Man United, Bayern, Arsenal, Union Berlin as well, with a good fixture in there. You've also got Inter, you've got Real, who have Napoli away, so you probably wouldn't want too many of those players either. I think there's a very short pool of teams with target fixtures this week, which is personally why I'm not using the Limitless this week. But I know a lot of people are more than happy to pile on to like the likes of Bayern and Arsenal with easier fixtures, which I don't also think is a good move. As I say, it probably is the most popular move. But yeah, we're looking at the likes of those teams as well. Obviously, when you look at City and stuff with RB Leipzig, there's some players that you just can't miss out on, likes of Holland and stuff that are going to be very difficult not to have in your team. Especially when you're looking for players that are going to play on the Wednesday. You're looking for four players, maybe an Atletico, maybe one or two City players, maybe one or two Barca players as well, and that's really all you're going to look at. But like I say, most of your players are going to be right on those Tuesday fixtures. So before we look into looking at the actual team, you'll see a table down below me which has all the best fixtures for Matchday 2. And then to the side of that, you'll see a number, and that's going to be how many of each of those players we're going to have in the team. So you'll see we've got two Man United players, three Bayern, three Arsenal, one Atletico, and then we've rounded it off with two Inters and three Barças as well. So it just shows you that's 14 out of 15 players in this team that are going to be targeting the best fixtures. Again, there is only 6 green fixtures really this week, and we're not really going to be looking towards any Antwerp players. And for Union Berlin, there was a couple of options. Someone like Gosens I was interested in, but with them also playing on the Tuesday, I kind of had to replace him for someone who was playing on Wednesday, because we do want players on the bench coming in for subs in case our players on the Tuesday end up blanking. So starting us off in the goalkeeper positions, then we're going for Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Jan Sommer. Obviously Sommer playing on the Tuesday and ter Stegen playing on the Wednesday. Starting off with ter Stegen, obviously there's a lot of decent picks you can go for on that second day, the likes of Ederson, ter Stegen being there as well, and I think Jan Oblak really looking like the three best options. The problem with Ederson is Leipzig away. I feel like they're probably going to score in that game. Ederson doesn't really pick up too many saves as well. You know that if you play FPL as well or Sky Fantasy. Ederson really isn't that great in terms of picking up saves. So you've really got ter Stegen or Oblak. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 there. For me, I think ter Stegen's going to pick up more saves than Oblak will. Looking at Barca's game at the weekend, ter Stegen had 5 saves against Celta Vigo at home. Obviously, with Porto away, it's technically considered more difficult fixture than Atletico's, who have Feyenoord at home. But Feyenoord are scoring a lot of goals right now, and I do think they will score against Atletico. So for that reason, I did go for Marc-Andre ter Stegen. As well, we've got Jan Sommer. Even as a cheaper pick, I think he's probably the best goalkeeper in that Limitless team. I think you want to save the likes of United, Bayern, and Arsenal for the attackers. You want to be going for the more attacking players. So I think Sommer is a very decent option. Inter have only conceded 1 goal in the league so far in 5 matches. And I think it's their first home game in the Champions League against Benfica. I think they definitely could end up keeping a sheet there. So again, even if Sommer doesn't keep a sheet, you always have Ter Stegen to back that up. And at the first defender spot, we're taking up our second Barca player, and we're going for João Cancelo. Again, we all know how good Cancelo is, or how good he was at Man City in terms of attack and returns, and he's continuing at Barcelona so far. He's played 2 games in the league for them. He has 2 goals and an assist as well, playing at right back. So I think, especially on your Limitless, you're definitely going to want to go for him, probably in every team that you can possibly get for each match day, because there's just such a high upside to him if he can keep a clean sheet. And he's definitely up there for attack and returns as well. So for me, I think I definitely want Cancelo in there. We've also went for Alphonso Davies as well, taking up the first Bayern spot. I do think, excluding the attackers, Davies has a massive upside. Again, I think Copenhagen away, definitely some clean sheet potential there. And Davies, being a bombing forward left back, definitely could pick up a few attack and returns as well. So I think Davies, Sani and Kane, spoiling 2 players for coming up in the team, but I feel like there were 2 very obvious picks that are going to be here. Davies, Sani, Kane, I think, is easily the best 3 Bayern players you can go for. Davies, because of that clean sheet and attacking potential, I do think should be in your team. Next up, we are going for Molina. Again, an Atletico Madrid right back. He already has an attack and returns so far in the Champions League with an assist coming against Lazio. He also has a goal in the league as well so far, so he does have some attacking potential. And with him being 6 million, he is the most expensive defender you can get so far. So I think he's one of those players that limitless users could gatekeep a little bit. I don't think those on wild cards and those just making normal transfers are really going to be going for him. He is so expensive. So I do think if you're using a Limitless, he's someone you can go for. And you know it's just people on the Limitless that are going to really have him. So it could be a very, very good differential. And again, playing Feyenoord at home, I don't know if they'll keep a clean sheet. It is always possible. But I do think the attack and returns are definitely possible there as well. And another reason for going for him, he is someone who plays on the Wednesday. So he is someone you can stick on the bench. And yeah, I think he's just someone you can sub in later. He's probably the best option you can get in terms of defenders. Again, you really want to be going for Atletico, City and Barca players for those on the Wednesday. I do think Molina is probably the best option you can go for without restricting yourself in terms of the Tuesday players with the better fixtures. The penultimate defender spot, we're going to go for William Saliba as well. We all know how good of an asset he can be in FPL, and I do think he's probably got a good chance of keeping a clean sheet against Lens away. It's probably one of the easier games that Arsenal will come up against in the Champions League. And I do think when you're looking at Arsenal's attack, there's maybe like 1 or 2 that you want to be picking, probably not 3. And again, you do want to be tripling up on Arsenal this week. So I do think Saliba is probably the best defensive option you can go for. You know he's going to be nailed in that team, and again there's definitely a potential for a clean sheet. We know as well Saliba's got some attacking threat in terms of corners. He can get up and score a header as well, so it's not one that you're really going to be expecting from him, but I do think in terms of clean sheets, Arsenal definitely look like one of the better teams to do that in Matchday 2. And rounding off the defence, we're going for DiMarco. Again, it was quite unfortunate in Matchday 1 with the slight injury that he picked up just before, and he only managed to come off the bench. But unfortunately, again, the 50-50 was between him and Dumfries only picked up 2 points anyway, so there wasn't much to be missed out on there. But again, he played at the weekend and scored at the weekend in Inter's 1-0 win over Empoli. So I do think he definitely should be in everyone's team, really, whether you're wildcarding or using your Limitless chip this week. He now has 1 goal and 3 assists in 5 matches in the league for Inter, and he definitely looks like one of the most attacking left backs you can get in the Champions League game this year. Again, as well, I already said it. With Soma, I do think Inter could definitely keep a clean sheet against Benfica this week, so I'm going with a double defence with Soma and DiMarco, and I think it could be a very, very big upside, because I think a lot of the casuals this week, after seeing DiMarco not starting in Matchday 1, might just kind of miss him out a wee bit. But I do think, again, if you're either Limitless or wildcarding or really doing anything with your team, I think DiMarco should definitely be there. And starting us off with the midfield, we're going for Bukayo Saka, easily the number 1 midfielder for this week, again with Lens away. Again, he's on penalties. He's in fantastic form. He's easily Arsenal's best player as well. So when you're looking to target players in an Arsenal team, he's definitely going to be the first name on the list. I really don't think there's much else to say about him. I think he's probably going to be very, very highly owned as well this week with a lot of teams, and I do think he is definitely going to be there. Probably not going to be much of a captaincy option because, again, you are looking at Bayern versus Copenhagen. And there's a lot of big attackers there that you're probably going to want to captain instead. I do think Bukayo Saka in the midfield getting extra points for goals definitely has to be there. We're also going for Bruno Fernandez in at the second spot, another 9.5 million midfielder. Again, it's tough when you're picking United players because they aren't on really good form right now, which is why I have only went for 2 instead of 3 of them. But I think Bruno, if you're looking at Man United attack and returns, Bruno's probably at the centre of all that. He is on the penalties as well, and I believe he's on the free kicks. I'm not too sure about that one, but I think he is. But he is in some decent form as well. He has been scoring of late, and I definitely think he has massive assist potential. Well, with him playing in the midfield as well, he's got some good chance of ball recoveries as well. And I do think Galatasaray at home is a very good opportunity for him to pick up some points. And to pair those two, we're going for another Premier League midfielder. It's Martin Odegaard from Arsenal to round off the 3 Arsenal players. I do think Odegaard is probably the second best player in terms of the Arsenal assets, especially in the attack as well. When you look at that left wing striker spot, there is a bit of rotation there. Obviously, Martinelli being injured, I think Trossard could be an option for those kind of looking for a cheaper option, but obviously we're looking at the Limitless team where there's no budget. I do think Martin Odegaard definitely could be one of the better picks. He's also coming off a very good start to his own UCL campaign with a goal and an assist, along with Saka, who also picked up a goal and an assist in their 4-0 win against PSV. So I see no reason why both of them, wouldn't be continuing that good form into probably what is considered an easier fixture. Next up, we're going for our second Bayern player of the team. We're going for Leroy Sani. Again, another very, very in-form player right now. He has 4 goals in 5 games in Bundesliga. And he was a very, very popular pick last year as well in UCL Fantasy. And he just does work very well for the game. And again, with a fixture such as Copenhagen away, you definitely want to be having him in your team. Again, he's just 2 of 3 of the triple up for the Bayern team. I think he's probably up there in maybe the top 5 essential players for this match day. I think that's how highly you would rate him, and I really would expect him to get at least an attack and return against Copenhagen. And rounding off the midfield, we're going with probably my least confident pick. We're going for Ilkay Gundogan. I was really stuck with a midfielder spot at the end of this, and I needed someone who played on Wednesday. So I was stuck between maybe going for a City player or basically going for a Barca player. I don't really think there was any Atletico midfielders that really interested me, so it was really between maybe Phil Foden or one of the Barca midfielders, and I ended up going for Ilkay Gundogan because I think with the amount of goals that Barca are scoring, they are going to get a few against Porto. And again, like we said in some of the previous UCL videos, a lot of Barca's goals seem to be coming from the midfield. And Gundogan has been picking up a couple of attack and returns as well. So I did end up opting for him instead of Phil Foden, purely because you know he's going to be playing. Foden could easily be benched. I know Jack Grealish is back. So Foden could end up dropping to the bench with Grealish starting instead. So again, I think Gundogan's a safer pick. And starting off our attack, of course, it had to be Erling Haaland. Basically, we're looking for someone to captain on the Wednesday, and he's really the only name. He's going to be the first name that pops up in everyone's mind. We're looking at Leipzig away from him. Unfortunately, didn't score in match day 1, but again, he is going to have a chance to redeem himself. He did, I'm sure, played against Leipzig last season and scored 4 goals against them. So it's obviously a team he enjoys playing against. And again, you're really for that second day captaincy. You're going to be looking maybe at Haaland or maybe Lewandowski. But again, I do think Haaland with 7 goals so far in the Premier League, you can't really not have him in your team, really, no matter who the fixture is. So he does start off the attack. And at the second spot, we're going for Harry Kane. Again, finishing off the Bayern triple up. It is pretty much going to be the number 1 name on the team sheet this week, with him playing against Copenhagen away. And he has settled in very, very nicely in the Bundesliga with Bayern. He has 7 goals and 3 assists in only 5 games as well. So he is in top form. And again, Copenhagen, probably one of the easiest fixtures you can get in the Champions League this year. I see no reason why he wouldn't score 2 or 3 goals. So again, you're going to have him in your team, and he's probably going to be the best captaincy option for the Tuesday as well. So you probably won't even need to move that on to Haaland. I think sticking with Kane would be perfectly fine. But I do think for me, Kane would be number 1 on the team sheet. And finishing things off, we're going for Marcus Rashford, someone who hasn't really hit too much form so far this season. But I think we do have to at least have 2 United attackers with their Galatasaray fixture. And again, we're going for Marcus Rashford. He is playing against a Galatasaray team that hasn't really been keeping too many clean sheets. You also have to consider that they drew 2 each with Copenhagen at home. So conceding 2 goals to a team that would be considered less than them, I do think Rashford definitely has some potential to get some goals. And when you consider Man United attacking assets, Bruno Fernandez and Marcus Rashford are the 2 that definitely come to mind, so that's why he's there. And that wraps up the entire team. You can see we're 15 million over budget. Obviously with the Limitless chip, that doesn't matter. You really are trying to get the highest value possible out of your team. I have tried to fill the team with with a couple of 4th of October playing players, just so you've got an option of who to play. Obviously Haaland's going to start, so it kind of gives you an option of a bench of Cancelo, Molina and Gundogan as well. Obviously, you only technically need 3 players that are going to be playing on the Wednesday. So if you didn't want someone like Gundogan and you wanted another attacker or another more attacking midfielder for the 3rd of October, you always can do that. This is just what I would be going for if it was me using the Limitless chip this week. And again, you can see the table down below me of the kind of players that we're using and the target fixtures as well. But that is the team I would be going for. There will be a wildcard video out before the deadline as well as my own team selection, just to kind of give you an idea, an update of how I got on in Matchday 1 as well as how I'll be going into Matchday 2 as well. So make sure you subscribe and put notifications on for those videos as well. Make sure you leave a like on this one if you enjoyed, and thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.